What's up, people? Back with another reaction, back with some more Frida, and we're up to the final tune on her 1996 album that translates to Deep Breaths. Thank you again to Adrian, as well as to Darren, who's provided song title translations. And his translation of this last one is Women as Jumpers, and he provided the annotation that that means the activity, not the garments. So, okay, jumpers, it can mean different things. It can literally just mean jumping up and down. But, you know, I just reacted to a tune by Third Eye Blind that was about a jumper, meaning someone who is going to jump off of a tall building, presumably to try to end their own lives. So maybe because of that reaction, maybe just because I've heard that term used in that fashion before, I'm wondering whether this is more dire and severe. So I'll try to catch what I can in the comments, but once again, this will be in Swedish, so I likely will have no insight, unless, you know, there's a sound or, you know, some type of indication of dangerous intensity where then I'd be more inclined to see it as the latter. But again, I won't know even if that is the case, so I look forward to any comments. Let's give it a listen. This is Frida. The tune translates to Women as Jumpers, and it's the final track on her 1996 album, Deep Breaths.
Kvinnor som springer mot vinden med vargarna. Kvinnor som hungrar efter fria liv. Ondjur med inre vision och med stark passion. Och nu är tid. Kvinnor som springer i linje med lejonen. Kvinnor som söker i sin vilda själ. Känn dem bejaka och vaka sitt vargaland. Kom nu är tid. Hon har gått genom slutna rum som både blind och stum, en plågad människa. Hon var fången i egen bur som ett förvildat djur, en plågad människa. Hon förkastar en stulen tid fylld av smärta från djupa sår. De såren har gjort henne stark, en fri varg. Kvinnor som springer mot vinden med vargarna. Kvinnor som hungrar efter fria liv. Ondjur med inre vision och med stark passion. Kom nu är tid. Kvinnor som springer i linje med
fade for a last tune. I feel like that's a decent tune to fade out. I just think that a gradual fade is always a bit better, especially if it's the last track of the album. So it just kind of sails off into the sunset very gradually rather than dropping off. Nevertheless, that aside, I enjoyed it. Like, in one way, it didn't sound particularly dark or heavy, so if there is the jumper meaning in a more severe and dire way, I wonder, it didn't come across necessarily in the sonics, but it also wasn't particularly dense. It was relatively stripped down. Now, there were different things happening, certainly, and, in the end, especially, there were some effects, I think, on a guitar, and there might have been an effect on, like, a string or something, but basically, it was a pretty stripped down sound, and the percussion had this heavy, I don't know if tribal's the right word, but it had, it didn't sound like a typical drum set, and even for a drum machine, the kick drum was like banging on a large piece of wood or something, and the snare had a pop to it. So yeah, it felt like a again, quasi-tribal percussion rhythm, and then the guitar had a bit of a bluesy feel. Especially there was a section in the second half of the track where it really kind of got down and bluesy. So yeah, I do wonder what's happening lyrically and thematically. I enjoyed her voice. It was the densest part of the track, I guess, was her voice, because it sounded like it was doubled, tripled, maybe even quadrupled at a couple points. But yeah, it definitely had a blues alternative sound. Maybe that's the best label I can put on it. And I do, as I said, wonder what's happening lyrically. But yeah, if there is a intense or like fatal aspect to it, it didn't quite come across in the sonics. Not that it sounded, light and happy. It certainly wasn't that either. So I doubt it was just, happy women jumping up and down. But yeah, I really do wonder what's happening thematically. But yeah, a cool end to a really compelling album, and one that, again, sounded different from both of the albums that we went through from Frida in the 80s. And indeed, we've got another album coming. A number of people mentioned they were very excited for it. Once again, shout out to Darren. It's sitting over there. We'll get to it next time, but I'm very much looking forward to that. So let me know what you think here, and I will see you when we get to it. Peace.